Little sports.
Close the field up and then go again.
And Clay Skinner's out of the race as well. Clay Skinner's in the pits and out of.
Certainly the two on the front of it. It should be it's car number 2, of course.
So plenty of. At some other circuits where you've got longer straights. Fastest lap of the race though.
That little off.
Running cars in Formula
5
was the fastest.
that was.
And right here at the nation's spectator track, you are watching on Blendline TV.
So all of 80 Ks.
Yeah.
And no oil today, right?
You are watching round number 3 of the CAMS New South Wales Motor Racing Championships on Blendline TV. And we had an absolute ripper race yesterday. Race number 1 it was for the second round. The Sky Sands Australian Sports Sedan Championship, co-sharing the track with Kumo Tyres New South Wales Sports Sedan Championship. And joining me in commentary to talk us through all of the action for race number 2 for the Sports Sedans this morning. It's a very good morning once again to Gary O'Brien. Gary, a ripper battle yesterday between Tony Ricciardello and Tom Randall, with Randall eventually coming out on top after a ding-dong exchange between the two.
Yeah, they didn't mind swapping a bit of paint or wrap, depending on how the cars are done, in endeavours to come out over the top of each other, and boy, did they turn it on. It was a high-speed dice that you often see within Sports Sedans. It used to be Darren Hossack and Tony Ricciardello that were hard at it. Now we've got a new player in Thomas Randall who's taken up the challenge. And speaking of that a spinner on it, looks like one of the RX-7s has spun on
Chris Muscat
on the outlap. They go straight into a rolling start after they go past the start-finish line the first time.
They're giving them an extra warm-up lap, probably because of the cold track conditions this morning, I would imagine.
You can see the track map there. 2.2 kilometres, 10 turns. First opened in 1994 as a historic venue. Ricky Capo holds the outright lap record of 53.7711. Did that in a Formula 3 car. Jack Perkins, who we were going to mention, holds the lap record in this category to 56.669. Fortunately, Perkins, they had a diff blow up in practice on Friday and haven't been able to start. The grid for you for this one: got Thomas Randall on pole in the Chef-powered Saab, Tony Ricciardello in his Chef-powered Alpha alongside of him, Chef Camaro of Steve Lacey, and a deliberate Chef of Stephen Tomasi shares the second row. Now we've got Viral Chet in his Camaro and Shane Goodman in the BMW Chef off the third row. Go back further, then we should have on row 4 Grant Dillman and Michael Robertson, Chef-powered Falcon and Monaro respectively. Then it's Shane Bradford in the Trans Am Camaro with a Trans Am Mustang has got Reed alongside of him. Outside of the top 10, we've got Jeff Tanton in the Mark V8, followed by Steve Copping in the ex-supercar Holden Commodore VZ that did have a spin, so recovered quite well to get where he did. Jason Buskin, another of the Mark cars. Chris Muscat, who we mentioned, had that little spin, is out of position 14 in the RX-7. And we've got Lisa Montgomery in the second of the Mark cars on position 15. Rolling start coming up, about to go. And if there's anything like yesterday's race, it'll be absolutely fantastic. Grant Dillman, I think, went a little bit early, but then pulled back into position. In the meantime, Ricciardello had the lead for a moment, but Randall's got down the inside of him, takes it away from him, and we can see these two already starting to get away. And Randall had some drive issues going up the hill. He's on the inside, and it's hectic stuff as we see the number 77 Nissan of Barton go off at turn 2. Fortunately, he's well off the track, so we might be able to continue without any dramas. Lacey in third, Tomasi 4th, Woodman up to 5th, Chetton 6th. Then we've got Robertson and Dillman, the next two. Reed, Bradford trying to go under Reed at turn, and another spinner just behind him, and that's Muscat again. Going around, you think he'd have got it right after the warm-up lap.
Well, isn't the warm-up lap a chance just to check all your racing lines and everything? He practiced it on the warm-up lap, and now he's done it for real in race conditions.
To be fair, he probably he was checked up a little bit and had really no options. Battle going on back in the pack as we see Dillman and Robertson duking it out as they go down past the start-finish line. That's 7th and 8th, so all sorts of battles going on. In the meantime, it's the top 3 out there are pretty evenly matched, with Randall just ahead of Ricciardello and Lacey just behind them as well.
Stephen Lacey doing a good job to stay with this front pair at the moment, but keep in mind that because he's one of the state runners, he's on the Kumo control tyres. All of the National Series runners are using the Hankook control tyres, and it has been observed that the Kumo tyres do come on a bit more quickly compared to the Hankooks. The Hankooks better later on in the race.
Yeah, still this dice we're seeing on the live stream from Blendline TV is between the two Trans Am spec cars, the Mustang of Reed and the Camaro of Bradford. And Bradford now lines him up as they go down to turn 10 and gets that job done. So So that elevates him up one more position. Can he hold on to it though? Because Reed tries to go down the inside. He hasn't got the straight line performance in the Ford Mustang as opposed to the Chev-powered car.
And we've had a lead change. Ricky Adello ahead of Tom Randall. So got the job done at turn number 2 that time around. So the red Alpha goes back to the front.
Coming into this round, Ricciardello leads the series. Had the year off last year. Had a hand operation. Did a bit more work on the car after winning his 10th championship, 10th title. And now back strong. Didn't expect to win the first round, but did because a number of the top players had dramas. Oh,
and it was Joseph Sed that got into the side of Tony Barton on the exit of turn 2. We're just watching a replay of that. And that was the reason that Barton ended up out in the grass on the inside.
I think Randall might have some sort of dramas. He's doing a lot of weaving, not to stop anyone going past, but whether he can't get the temperature in the tyres, that could be an issue because Lacey's right on the back of him now looking for a way past. And you can see the car just doesn't look comfortable, does it? It's sort of jumping all over the place, and it could be grip related. Right went out on too high pressures to start the race. Come up in more so than expected. Gets away a little bit as they go down the hill, and maybe he's just waiting for those tyres to come on so he can relaunch an attack on Ricciardello before this race finishes.
Or it could be the opposite problem, that maybe the tyre pressures are a bit too low and he's finding it a bit cold, as we see wheels being dropped off out of turn 9.
That was Ricciardello that just dropped the left rear off. No harm done, I don't think. Fastest lap for the race at the moment is Ricciardello. And he goes faster again despite having that little wheel off the circuit at turn 9.
Randall didn't lose any time to him though, both of them doing 58.3 second lap times. Stephen and Lacey just starting to lose touch with those two now as those Kumo tyres start to lose their initial performance advantage. And Shane Woodman has an off-track excursion at turn 2 in the BMW M3 GTR that'll allow Birrell Seaton to get past heading up the hill.
And Birrell Seaton is the current title holder in the National Series. Won it last year in that Chev Camaro. Had a very difficult opening round, but so far has bagged some solid points. Race 1 and at the moment race 2. We've seen Shane Bradford down the inside, or attempt to go down the inside of Michael Robertson. Wasn't quite on. Try and line him up out of this corner to try and get that job done. Robertson Monaro's been around for a couple of years now. Been a very strong performer. Here we look back at the Division 3 cars, battling it out. The 2 Holden Commodores.
John Spiteri, the Mitsubishi Evo. I bumped into Trevor Spiteri at one of the local establishments in Goulburn last night, and he was suggesting that they would have a bit more of a relaxed day today. Yesterday they had to try and do a Formula 1 spec tyre change in between the sports sedan and the improved production race, just to try and get that car out onto the track because it is on double duty this weekend. John running it in the sports sedans, Trevor running it in the over 2 litre improved production races. As Shane Bradford continues to probe on the back of Michael Robinson, and just ahead of those two, the Falcon of Grant Dorman, the car that was formerly run by Grant Dorman's late father-in-law, Jeff Brown. It's now been taken over by Grant and Emma Dorman, who are continuing to develop that car. Grant previously raced a Commodore in the New South Wales Sports Sedan Championship. Fastest lap of the race for Thomas Randall, so he's got the margin back down to 0.7 of a second. And once again, our race leaders find themselves having to negotiate their way through elapsed traffic, and that proved to be decisive in the outcome of yesterday's race because it created an overtaking opportunity for Thomas Randall, which he was able to make stick on Tony Ricciardello.
Yeah, this battle going on further back. This is a battle we're looking at for 7th, 8th and 9th positions. Oh, it's on again. We've got this battle with lap traffic causing some headaches for Ricciardello out in front, but he gets it done, manages to hold position.
He'll be thinking to himself, oh, not this again.
And Randall actually does get through. So the problem for Ricciardello is he's the trailblazer. He's the one that first comes across them. If they're not aware of it, then he can be seriously balked, as we see in that situation. The beauty about it for anyone following, they know that there's other cars that will be coming through and they'll be on the lookout for them. Bradford tried to go down the inside of Robertson there at turn 10. I think there might have been a little touch between those two coming through the corner there, but Robertson manages to hold that spot.
And they've both got past Grant Dorman, so Dorman must have made a mistake unsighted by us because he's fallen back to 8th position.
Go back to our race leader, Ricciardello, just eases away again, so I think at this stage that Randall must be sweating on the lap traffic coming up so that he can get in a position where he may challenge for the race lead. At the moment, that gap is probably out to about half a second.
Battle on for 3rd position here between Stephen Lacey and Stephen Tomasi. So Lacey's tyres must be past their best. He's having to start defending. Drives down the inside of the circuit at turn 10, and we've had a big spin. We just caught it there at the back of the shot, or a big lock-up, I think it was, and that might have been Joseph Sed, who's involved in a battle at the moment with Lacey Montgomery.
And he has a lose out at turn 3.
Uh-oh.
Oh. What a coming back onto the track. It's just allowed our race leaders to get clear. In the meantime, it looks like position 3 has changed hands as well, with Tomasi getting through on Lacey. And the battle still continues with Ricciardello and lap traffic. I was going to say with the second place car it isn't. It's lap traffic he's having to deal with. But yeah. Randall was the one that nearly came unstuck when Joe Sed had that off at turn 3.
That's pretty much cost Thomas Randall his chance of challenging for victory, you would have to say, because they had to jump hard on the anchors when Joe Sed rotated between turns 3 and 4.
We've got 3 laps to go at the moment. The gap is 2 seconds between Ricciardello and Randall. And another one, Woodman off again out of turn 9 this time, but fortunately he doesn't lose any position. Further back, we've got 2 of the New South Wales State guys going hard at it in Scott Reed and Simon Copping in their respective Trans Am Ford Mustang and ex-supercar Holden Commodore PZ. Very different configured cars, but performance-wise, very similar. And one of the Mark car V8s is off at turn 7.
Turn 8, yeah, that's Jason Busk there, running off the circuit at the fishhook.
All sorts of action going on here, thick and fast throughout the field. Give you a rundown of where they are now. We've got Tomasi coming up on lap traffic as well, but he's well clear of Lacey. So Lacey's in 4th, Beryl Kachec's in 5th. Woodman still holds 6th despite running off the track twice. And we've got Robertson and Bradford having that good dice. They're dicing for 7th and 8th. Dorman in 9th. Reed and Copping having their dice. That's going to decide who gets into the top 10. Then we've got now the first of the marked cars will be Jeff Tanton in 12th position. Colin Smith, who we've seen have a luge yesterday and park on the infield out of turn 2. Had some bent steering dramas with that car. As we see Bradford now trying to slip down the inside of Robertson at turn 2. Having trouble getting past lap cars, and Bradford finally does it. Gets the job done between turns 2 and 3.
Oh, and that Datsun that they were lapping just goes sailing off the road at turn 3 as well. That's Mantikos there in the number 85 car.
Yeah, that's very old school sports sedan. If you're ever likely to see one, that's what they used to look like back in the day.
And just caught out of the corner of my eye there, Tony Ricciardello was still pushing on. He just had an almighty brake lock-up.
Well, that was the car that had the one you called before, just before Joe Sed went off.
We are on the final lap, and you only get one new set of tyres for the weekend, so it'll be interesting to see which tyres Ricciardello has left for the 3rd and final race, which is worth the most points.
On the fact that he would have a new set for race 3. That's why he's probably not too perturbed. As we see one of the Division 3 Commodores racing the grass on the outside of turn 9.
Oh, a bit of debris on the racetrack as well that's just been hit there by the Colin Smith Holden Monaro, which was a retirement yesterday, but the checkered flag is coming out this time around, and it's going to be 1-1 this weekend between Tony Ricciardello and Thomas Randall. 1 second, the final margin between those two cars at the finish.
Steve Tomasi looked at his first spot. We're just seeing him come down the straight now in the Calibra Chev. 93. Steve Lacey down the straight now will take out fourth, and first of the New South Wales runners as well. He's running in both series this year. And Sedans had a check-up out of turn 10.
Joe Sed has had a spin at turn 10 as well.
So he may have come up on the back of that and just thought I better get out of that. Woodman, the next one across the line, then Bradford, Robertson, Dillman, Reed, the next one through. Or has Dillman dropped back as well?
He fell back in behind both Bradford and Robinson.
But he's just finished now. So he's dropped.
There were a few laps cars obviously separating them, and what's going on there? Is that Tom Randall going off the circuit on his way into the pits on the cool-down lap?
Yeah, it looks like it. Well, yeah.
Well, a bit going on in that race, Gary.
We'll have to go down and get the good oil on what's been going on in that race, and when we go to take a quick break, we'll be back with more shortly.
It's State Championship motor racing at Wakefield Park with a couple of national categories thrown in for good measure. A very good morning, good afternoon, or good evening wherever you're tuning in right around the world to Blendline TV's live and exclusive coverage of round number 3 of the Cavs New South Wales Motor Racing Championships. I'm your commentator, Lachlan Mansell. And for those of you tuning in right around the world on Blendline TV YouTube channel, Blendline TV Facebook and the Wakefield Park Facebook page, today we have coming your way 2 races for the New South Wales Production Touring Car Championship, a couple of races for the New South Wales Production Sports Car Championship, and also 2 national categories as well, the New South Wales and National Sports Stand Series as well. There's a schedule for what you can expect throughout the day, but as we get set for the first race of the day, Gary, an awesome day.
Yes, good morning, Lockie. Good morning, everyone, wherever you may be watching this. Yesterday, absolutely fantastic racing. Again, the weather will be brilliant today. Forecasting around a top of 19 degrees Celsius and no wind to speak of at the moment, not a cloud in the sky. Yesterday we had some of the great racing here. The sports sedans really turned it on. Formula Ford as well. And of course what we're seeing now is the improved production touring second race for them for the weekend, and quite a good strong lineup of cars. 22 cars on pole position. The winner of yesterday's race, Clay Skinner in his Mitsubishi Evo, Tony Birag alongside in the HSV GTS, both out of Class A1, which is the Extreme Performance Forced Induction category. And on the second row are 2 from the A2 class, which is Extreme Performance Naturally Aspirated. That's Matt Holt and Mark Kane in their HSV Club Sports. And go back further there, Steve Thompson in the Evo out of position 5. Daniel Herbert out of the B1 class Evo is out of 6. We won't be that far off a start. We're actually missing one of our front row as Tony Virag hasn't got a roundup, which is a bit unfortunate. He won both the races at the previous round. Green flag at the back. We're about to go. We won't have that HSV GTS on the front row, and getting away really well. Mark Kane in the rear-wheel drive HSV Club Sport gets into second position behind Skinner as they go down to turn one the first time.
Excellent start there for Mark Kane off the second row of the grid. Excellent reaction time and launches that F-Series HSV Club Sport beautifully. And I'm just having a look down to pit lane, and Tony Virag is making his way into the dummy grid area now, about 5 minutes. Some of the members of the team via social media and find out what the story is. But turning our attention back to the race and this battle that we're seeing on screen at the moment between Steve Thompson and Darren Herbert, who had a great run yesterday in the older model Mitsubishi Evo 5. They're battling in different classes, but they are battling for outright track position and off the road. Big moment there for Mark Kane coming out of turn number 9. Drops all 4 wheels off the racetrack, and that will cost him the lead of Class A2 because Matthew Holt slides down the inside at turn 10.
That would have hurt any chance of getting close to Skinner as well. Skinner was the first round winner of the series back at Sydney Motorsport Park. Virag the second round, and Kane gets his spot back pretty quickly as they go down through turn 1 into turn 2.
Mind making a mistake, he very quickly regained his composure, realised that he had a better exit from turn number 10 and was able to slip back on through on the inside, back up to second outright, first in Class A2.
Watching Steve Thompson and Daniel Herbert fighting it out across the 10 circuit. Far behind would be Brad Schumacher in the Subaru in position 5 at the moment. So that's 3, 4 and 4, 5 and 6 we're looking at. They're missing one on the timing. So if you're watching live timing, I think it's the we're missing Mark Kane off our live timing. Okay, so we've got at the moment we've got Skinner, Holt, Kane in 1, 2 and 3, and then 4, 5 and 6 at Thompson, Herbert and Schumacher. And
we're going on board with Brad Schumacher as he goes down the inside of this new onboard technology this weekend, and it's working a treat for us at the moment. Brad Schumacher, the Bathurst driver who we saw running with fellow Bathurst competitor Michael Anderson in the Bathurst 6 hour.
One around at turn 2, spun off. Let's hope we can get that going again. It's Steve Thompson in the Evo 10, which was running in 4th position. So I think he'd be able to drive it out of there, being 4-wheel drive. Maybe he's just waiting for the traffic to clear. Not much of an attempt at the moment, and this could trigger a safety car, so we're okay. The tunes running last.
On screen at the moment, the West End Mazda 6 diesel of Stuart Vaughan, and
unfortunately we have called for a safety car. Yep. So I triggered that just a fraction early, not realising, of course, that we had a situation brought under control with Thompson regaining the track. So it'll be a very short safety car. Basically, we're just going to close the field up and then go again.
And Clay Skinner's out of the race as well. Clay Skinner's in the pits and out of the car, and his race is done.
They're looking around the back of the car, around the fuel, perhaps. They've got a fuel pump failure of some sort, but certainly the boot is up and the fuel tank is in there. You can see the car number.
So plenty of drama in this race, that's for sure. So Tony Virag, our second place starter, didn't even make the start of the race. Clay Skinner, our pole sitter, out of the race after just 2 laps. And so that moves Mark Kane then in a Class A2 car into the outright lead of the motor race. VF HSV Club Sports running first and second.
Now here's a great shot out the rear of the car, the onboard. Brad Schumacher's number 55 Subaru Impreza, and that's a great shot because you can actually see all the cars behind him
for sure.
without
So
having the glare of
Tony
looking
Virag,
straight into
our
the sun, which is
second
a little bit,
place
because of the
starter,
nature of
didn't
this
even make
circuit,
the start of
when you
the
look
race.
out the front of the
Close
car,
to
you do get a lot of sun glare at this
out
time of the day.
The lights are out on the safety car, so only the single lap required under the safety car because Stephen Thompson was able to extricate himself from the sand. That safety car's worked out pretty well for Steve Thompson because he's made up most of the time that he lost parked on the side of the road and has been able to join back onto the back of the queue. So he'll be looking to make up some positions.
We've got an interesting situation. Round 1 winners out, round 2 winners out. Who will win round 3?
And of course, the way the point system is structured for the Production Touring Car Championship, it's not about how you go in the outright order, it's about how you go compared to the other cars in your class. So the outright championship leader at the moment is the track school Honda Integra driver Daniel Smith, who is sitting in position 7 outright.
That's amazing for a little Honda Integra to be in the top 10, let alone running in 7th position. Qualified inside the top 10 or 10th, I believe, yesterday, and ran accordingly. Actually finished, I think, in 10th, so he's picked up a few spots already, battling cars that he shouldn't be fighting with because he should be as quick as he is, though. And we always seem to get someone like that in production touring that steps above their level.
Particularly at a track like Wakefield Park, where outright horsepower is not the advantage that it is at some other circuits where you've got longer straights. Fastest lap of the race, though, is actually being set by Jack Winter in the Mitsubishi Evo 9. That's a car that Jack purchased, him and his dad Max, from Dylan Top Runners in the New South Wales Pulsar Racing Association series for the last couple of seasons.
Back here in the Class D battle for second position, Josh Munson in Volkswagen, ahead of David Baker in the Integra Harrison Gray Toyota 86. Great variety of cars fighting it out within the classes. And Huckman was second yesterday behind Smith in Class D, and it was a great battle for third involving the Baker, Gray and Zach Balco in another of the 86, which went all the way down to the wire. Not much between our two front runners at the moment though, Kane and Holt. Basically the same spec cars, both of course HSV Club Sport have that lower on and a little bit more horsepower.
Mark Kane's brother Michael Kane, we've seen racing successfully in production sports and more recently in the Kumo V8 Touring Car Series as well. They own the Marcel company, which manufactures a range of chicken stock and vegetable stock products, which are absolutely delicious, it has to be said, and they're one of the sponsors of the New South Wales Production Touring Car Championship as well.
Big fight going on down through turn 7.
And a spin, Charlie Viola, that's the second of the track school racing Honda Integra, so he's come off the road between turns 3 and 4. He was one of the drivers involved in that fierce battle for 3rd and 4th position within Class D.
There's a great battle going on for position 5 as well. Jeff Kite, Jack Winter, Adam Gosling in the BMW, and heading down towards turn 1. We keep one eye on that as we watch what's happening around the circuit as well. But that's been a dice that's growing, as we can see with this one as well. This is just further back. This is for position 11 and 12 at the moment.
So it's Josh Muggelson,
Followed by Baker and Gray.
Harrison Gray in the Toyota 86 that was previously raced in production touring cars by Jimmy Vernon, and just behind him is Zach Lochalpo in the actual Toyota 86 that he races in the Toyota 86 Racing Series.
Still very close between our front runners as well, Kane and Holt, and you wonder how Kane was actually able to get that spot back, considering how close these two have been. And Kane had that
in the context of this race, wasn't he? As we see that
there's Paul Pearson going through just in front of
Gavin Holland in the CGR Performance entry. Relatively quiet weekend for CGR Performance this weekend. Normally we see Dylan Thomas and his crew running cars in Formula B and multiple cars in production touring, but this weekend they're just running single entry for Gavin Holland, who is getting some coaching and driving tuition from Dylan Thomas. Back to this battle at the front of the field because Matt Holt is right on the tail of Mark Kane and not too far away.
Race as well.
That's a great effort in a Mitsubishi Evo 5, a Class B1 car.
He's only 1.5 seconds behind the pair, and on the current performance would be expected to be part of this battle before it finishes, the race is over. And I think Holt almost had a look coming out of turn 40, might have had a run down the inside, but he wasn't close enough, and then settles back in to follow Kane through 1 and 2. One, of course, is considered in some classes to be a kick rather than a corner, but in others it's a corner because you actually have to brake before the corner. Just in some of the open wheeler categories, so they brake afterwards. Battle going on there further back, that's Holland and Smith.
And problem for Jeff Kite, by the looks of it, in the VF Commodore SS.
Running fifth. So
League 2 as well, as we see Gavin Holland trying to go around the outside of Paul Pearson at turn 3, not able to get the move done there. So that elevates Adam Gosling in the BMW E46 M3 up to the front running position within Class B2.
Yeah, this battle here isn't a class battle as such because Pearson's in B2 and Holland, of course, is in the A1 class.
Here's actually a breakdown of your class leaders at the moment. So Class A1 being led by Brad Schumacher. Class A2, which is also your outright race leader, is Mark Kane. Darren Herbert leading Class B1. Class B2 is now being led by Adam Gosling with Jeff Kite having those, and in the Mazda 3 SP25, that's Andrew McMaster who leads Class E.
Yeah, Andrew McMaster actually doubling up and running in through production as well. Not in that car though, but in a BMW, so getting plenty of miles here at Wakefield Park this weekend. This battle goes on. We've only got about a lap and a half left, and the gap from second to third has dropped another tenth, so in actual fact Herbert is closing on them in the Evo 5, and it might be a good three-way dice over the final lap, and he pulls a bit more in as they go through turn 10 and come down to greet the start-finish line for the second last time. They'll be just starting their last lap now. If anything, Kane seems to have got a little bit of breathing space. Last lap board
that time around 105.9, so he's extended the margin over Matt Holt to 0.8 of the second, heading into this 12th and final lap of the race.
Yeah, and the biggest gap he's had all race probably. So maybe it was just conserving his tyres. Still got another race to go today, so you don't want to wear them all out too soon, especially if you run off the track like you did on the opening lap. Through the official for the last time, heading off around through what will be turn 9 now. One more corner after this one, and I'd say at this stage, without trying to put the mocker on him, that he may have.
And he had a scary moment at the start of the race, Mark Kane, but he recovered in style. And he's going to put V8 power on top at Wakefield Park this morning. Picks up race number 2 of the New South Wales Production Touring Car Championship.
Brad Schumacher gets into 3rd spot ahead of Winter. 4th spot that'll be because our timing has had another little glitch. And the next one across the line with Adam Gosling in B2, just in front of Daniel Smith in Class D. And
he had a
Pearson
scary
next one
moment
across the
at the
line.
start of the race.
Gavin Holland behind them, and then Stephen Thompson recovering well ahead of Josh Muggleton and David Baker
picks
in
up
the
race number 2 of the New South Wales Production Touring Car Championship.
Just in front of the
Killing performances there, Gary, especially Darren Herbert third outright in a Class B1 car, an elderly 1990s Mitsubishi Evo 5. That's a great performance. Daniel Smith, 7th outright in the Honda Integra. Good drive from him as well. So some of the less powerful or cars with older technology doing a great job of scoring some really strong outright positions, but in the end it's Mark Kane in the VF HSV Club Sport who picks up the outright race victory. A couple of the more fancied runners in Tony Virag and Clay Skinner not completing the race due to mechanical problems.
We're looking out the back of Brad Schumacher on this last in lap, and it's a great shot looking out the back of the cars.
So that is production touring done. Don't go away though, because You're watching round number 3 of the Cairns New South Wales Motor Racing Championships right around the world on Blendline TV, via the Blendline TV YouTube channel, Blendline TV Facebook page, and Wakefield Park Facebook page, Facebook Live as well. Great to have your company wherever you are tuning in from. We are set for production sports cars qualifying session Part B here at the nation's time that we saw in qualifying session Part A was 58.5 seconds, and that was set by Daniel Gaunt in the Audi R8 LMS. It's one of the current specification Audi R8 LMS. It's the car that we've been seeing, or we have seen, driven by Gary Higon in the Victorian Production Sports Car Championship. But Gary's away on business, and he said, well, I'm away, but Dan, you might as well go and race and have some fun and maybe get yourself psyched up for the GT Championship endurance race that you'll be doing with Tony Bates and Phillip Island next weekend, because Gary Higon owns a number of KFC chains, KFC franchises, I should say, down in Victoria, and KFC on the Daniel Gaunt and Tony Bates car that we've been seeing racing in the Australian GT Championship as well. Dan Gaunt's best time in qualifying session Part A, as opposed to qualifying session number A, 58.5 seconds, as Gary O'Brien rejoins me in the commentary box here. David Stevens was second in that qualifying session earlier on in his Ferrari 458 GT3, so unsurprisingly we ended up with two newest GT3 cars in the field, first and second. And then it was Daniel Gillison in the Mark Ford Focus, Ian Pretty in 360 Motorsport Porsche 997 GT3 Cup cars, who rounded out the top 5 in that qualifying session earlier on this morning. But I wouldn't be surprised, Gary, given that the track temperatures come up a bit, that we've seen the times a bit faster in this session.
Yeah, it's warmed up quite significantly outside. It must be all of about 15, 16 degrees, top temp around 19 predicted, but it's almost like summer here today. Weather feels so good.
I don't know about summer. It was -1 when I got to the track. 14
degrees, we've been told by the driving standards advisor, Chris Thomas.
Chris Reeves is actually.
Reeves, sorry.
Oh well, I made the mistake.
Right, that's what matters.
So I think we can forgive you for that one.
Created a bit of mirth around the place.
Rightio, so Daniel Gaunt gets straight down to a 63.1 second lap time. Because these cars do run on slick tyres, though, it does take them a few laps to build tyre temperature, as we discussed before. So if the ambient temperature is 14 degrees, then I'd say that the track temperature is still probably below 20. So not...
Yeah, the sun feels quite warm, so I wouldn't be surprised up around 25 actually. But talking to a couple of sports sedan guys after their race, they said it took forever to generate some heat into their tyres, particularly those running on Hancocks. We did see that the Kumo runners were having a fist of it in the early stages, but in the end Hancock were Daniel Gaunt is around the beat. He's the only one to hit under 1 minute lap time. And at the moment, car 17, Sergio Piers in the 997 GT3 Cup car, who's just been bumped back to third spot by Daniel Gilson in the Mark Cars V8.
So Sergio Piers, partner for the 3-car 360 Motorsport team this weekend, also driving for that team Marcel Zalua and Nathan Halstead. Marcel Zalua in one of the Garth Walden Racing Mercedes A45 AMGs, and Marcel Zalua's been doing a bit of racing in the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge as well. He ran in the opening round at Taylor Bennett, and he's going to be running at Phillip Island next weekend in the GT3 Cup Challenge as well.
Very busy boy at the moment. Andrew McPherson's another one that's very busy at the moment, running New South Wales Production Sports and the Blunt Pain Asia GT Championship, and in the amateur ranks has had 2 seconds, a third, and a DNF. And unfortunately, DNF was caused by being what they hurricane out of the race.
So Daniel Gaunt already down to a 58.3, so that's already faster than the lap time that he achieved in qualifying session A earlier on. So
that was number A, was it?
Qualifying session number A, yes. So Daniel Gaunt demonstrating that indeed with the increasing track temperature, there is more potential in the track for improvement in lap times. And as we predicted as well, Gary, it wouldn't be surprising once we get into the 2 30-minute races this afternoon if we see the lap record being broken in this category, because the previous, or the current lap record as it stands is 59.5. I reckon we could see times in the low 59s or even in the high 58s once we get into racing conditions.
Spot in the 458 Ferrari.
So for those of you joining us on the live stream, this is the second of 2 qualifying sessions for the production sports cars. So qualifying session A sets the grid for race 1. There'll be 2 30-minute races. And this qualifying session at the moment, qualifying session B, will set the grid for race number 2.
Now the option here is if you have 2 drivers, one will obviously drive in race 1 and the other will drive in race 2. At the moment, I think the only car that will have separate drivers will be the
Ian Pretty Scott Fleming Ford, and it's not actually.
Yeah,
it's on the trailer. That's a shame. Yeah,
hasn't had a drive on screen at the moment. We're looking at the number 17 Porsche was up in second spot, Sergio Perez.
One of the reasons it's a shame is because that is a great looking and great sounding car.
It's a great sounding car. And Sergio Perez now currently in 6th spot, so he has dropped a few, or not so much dropped it, it's just a few other guys have gone quicker.
He's actually behind his teammate in this session. In the first session, Sergio Perez was the highest placed of the 360 Motorsport Porsches, but Marcel Zalua is currently the best of the 360 Motorsport entries in this race. And in fact, Marcel Zalua has just done a 61.4 second lap time, which is A3R, which is on screen at the moment, which is technically a faster car than the GT3 Cup car that Marcel Zalua is driving.
Now, this is the car they used at the support races at Bathurst, and won both races with he and Brad Shields sharing the driving. They finished third at the second round at Sydney Motorsport Park just a matter of a couple of weeks ago. 188. There's drama there for one of the Lotuses.
Steve 1, yep. And he's been running in the improved production under 2 litre. He's giving the thumbs up to the officials, so he's okay. But by the looks of it, the same may not be able to be said for the car. And
I think he's just had a spin there. And
if he can't get it refired, it could well cause a red flag.
Yeah, indeed. And you ask the question, if you're giving a thumbs up, why haven't you refired it and moved on?
Well, we might be just indicating to the officials that he's physically okay.
Yeah, but he
there we go. Now he gets going again.
Maybe he's just waiting for the traffic to clear.
Good, so we avoid requiring a red flag interruption for that one. So
it's only 5.5 minutes to the session to go.
Number of the Lotuses that we see running are powered by either Toyota or Honda motors. Is powered by a 2.4 litre naturally aspirated Honda motor. Some of the other ones in the field run a combination of either naturally aspirated or supercharged 1.8 litre Toyota engines. And Daniel Gaunt, who managed to get down to a 58.0 on the previous lap, has brought the number 124 KFC Audi R8 into the pits. Very good morning to Tony Bates, who's tuning in on the live stream. He's watching on to see how his Australian GT Championship co-driver driver goes this weekend.
Tony lining up for the 501 next weekend in Phillip Island, no doubt.
Yep, got a race win in the last round of the Australian GT Championship at Sandown. Also,
73 on screen there, the Townsend Lotus. Down through the fish hook, turn 7.
and we've seen that car finish on the podium here at the Wakefield 300 in the hands of Glenn Townsend and Anthony Sewell in the past. The Bet and Marine Lotus Exige.
Been a mainstay of prod sports at state level for quite a while now, these cars, as you mentioned earlier. Here is Daniel Gilson on the Mark Cars V8. Going very quickly at the moment. He's currently in 3-1 second lap. Puts him about a second faster than his nearest rival.
Daniel Gillison, very, very talented racer who we used to see in the Dunlop Super 2 series. Actually had some top 3 finishes in that series when he was driving for the Greg Murphy racing team.
Kiwi by birth.
The last few years, of course, he's been focusing more on GT and production sports car racing, along with him this weekend doing well.
Big brother thing, they just want to beat us all the time.
Last weekend in the supercars, they finished on all 3 podium positions in the Sunday
and made
race.
It known that Kiwis did finish 1, 2 and 3.
And Tom Alexander won the Super Utes round as well. And this weekend we've got Hunter McElrea in Formula Ford, who's won both of the races so far. And we've got stopped on the side of the main straight, the number 21 Lotus of Aaron Wemyss, who has managed to get going again. That's good. He's come down from Queensland to participate in the production sports car races here at Wakefield Park this weekend.
Yeah, under 2 minutes of this one to go. Daniel Gillett in third. It's a case of 3 Ds up there, isn't it?
Daniel, David and Daniel, yes.
McPherson in 5th spot. Pearce in 6th. Mentioned, of course, car 13, which is currently in 4th position. But interesting field over our journey. You would expect that there'll be some traffic to be negotiated for our front runners.
Typically in production sports they do run a format with 1 hour races and pit stops. Not the case this weekend. 2
optional. You can just do the 2 sessions and race the 2 races yourself, which the majority of the field has done. Gone for that option.
So less than 90 seconds remaining on the clock, and it's Dan Gaunt who has come into the pits having recorded that fastest lap time in the session. The Audi Sport Customer Racing team down there looking over that car at the moment. David Stevens second, so positions 1 and 2 earlier on. In fact, the top 3 positions are the same because Daniel Gillison is sitting there in 3rd position at the moment. Ian Pretty was 4th fastest in qualifying session A, but as we've heard, that car's unfortunately got a problem and looks like it will not take any further part in the weekend. Marcel Zalua was 7th in session A, but he's improved up to 4th position in this session. Andrew McPherson 6th in the first session, 5th in this one. Sergio Pearce 5th in session number 1, 6th in this, 8th in both sessions. So Nathan Halstead, the other one who's improved, he was 9th in the first session, but he's got himself up to 7th position in this session.
And we've got Aaron Gabriel, the next one through, in position 9, and position 10 is Valerie Moosman.
And she's driving the Porsche 944 Turbo. So checkered flags out to complete this second of our production sports car qualifying sessions, and the news is fairly unsurprising, and that is that Daniel Gord will start on pole position for both of the races that we have here at Wakefield Park for the production sports cars this afternoon. So we'll go our next racing action, which comes up after the lunch break. But for those of you here at the track, we have 2 more races before the lunch break. Formula race cars will be up next.